I'm Laura Cook, and this is about the digestive system for AMP2. We're going to start with the salivary glands. As you see, they have marked out that these parietal salivary glands live in the mouth region, in the flesh of the cheeks. And their number one component is that they make about a quart of spit a day to lubricate the mouth, which also protects your teeth. That lubrication has some enzymes in it that'll aid in protecting the enamel from food and bacteria. They also aid in digestion. Next, we'll talk about the pharynx, which you can see that I've tagged here. This pharynx, correct. The pharynx moves food and air, and it also aids in a little peristalsis. The air mostly is when it's been warmed and it goes through that area. So you may have heard of the pharynx during respiratory, but it also plays a role there. If you go to the esophagus, let's get a better picture of it. It actually will show you that it goes all the way up here from this part of the body all the way down and travels. It's like a large muscular type tube that moves food into the stomach. And the reason why I mentioned muscular is that you'll notice that there's this word that I mentioned earlier called peristalsis. It is any part of the digestive tract that is lined in muscular tissue will move in the snake-like rhythm and kind of help move along food along the track of the body. So that peristalsis is what it's called when it contracts and moves food down this airway, or I'm sorry, this way, down to the stomach. I'm going to do the stomach now. And if I pin the stomach, it will show a different view. And it shows it's like this peachy, kind of ruddy, fleshy color area in here. The stomach is like a sac that kind of your body uses as a container, and during that peristalsis it's also muscle lined with muscle fibers, so that sac actually uses as like a mixing bowl. So any food that goes down there, if it has fluid or you're drinking something, it kind of absorbs some of the nutrients and also mixes it around. And that what happens is the stomach acid that's in there will help break down some of those things that you eat or anything that you think your body can't digest. It will kind of neutralize that, and the peristalsis movement will make it into some type of paste basically in your stomach. Next we're going to do the small intestine. When we pin down the small intestine, you can see that it shows like all of the intestines there. Well, we're just talking about the small. The small intestine is actually this all in here. As you can tell, is much different in size as far as what it looks like in width, but it's not as much as all in here like the large intestine, so it kind of sets itself aside. What the small intestine does is that it absorbs and digests all of the nutrients that is found in the food, that paste that you made in your stomach, now that it's moved down by peristalsis into the small intestine. When it receives it, it also helps, it has an bile that's aided in this process, but that comes from the pancreas and the hepatopancreal ducts that are near this organ. They'll release bile in there to help with the digestion of that. Next, we're going to pin the large intestine. Now, the large intestine, let's pin it here, is like we've seen before, how I pointed this out, how the difference is between the large and the small. That is all of this area in here, all these loops and tubes that you see that are one continuous area. Now the large intestine is a little bit different. It actually aids in absorbing water. So any leftover fluids that was made into that paste that was moved down from our stomach and then through our small intestine and now hits the large intestine, its job here is to fill up these tubular areas and kind of move with that peristalsis, that paste through, and during that absorbing any leftover nutrient that it may be able to absorb, and also to remove the water. And when it removes the water, it becomes more formed in what we would see at the end product as stool. So if we go to here, we'll show you our rectum and where the stool is held. see if we can move this just a little bit. So if you see in the large intestines how it pins both, I'm sorry, I didn't realize it was going to do that, but so here is the rectum. Now that's about an 8-inch vault that you wouldn't have any idea that sits between there and your pelvis, because obviously it's very low in your body. But that vault is about 8-inch chamber between the colon and the anus, and it connects the two, and also is the last step in the digestion process when we actually eliminate the fecal matter or stool that has been formed in the large intestine as it comes down. And there's a lot of nerve endings in the end of that. It'll give us a signal to the brain that we do have to make a bowel movement or evacuate our bowels. So it's right in this area here. I don't know if you can see that blue line at the end of the large intestine. And again, it connects the colon and the anus. Thank you. That is the digestive system.